Welcome to Sports and Songs, Season 2, Episode 5. I'm your co-host, Dan, along with co-host Andy for the show. Andy, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How about you?
Good. We're recording our show here on a Friday night, and we'll push it out here for the weekend to be able for you and the listeners to be able to share it with family, friends, and loved ones, of course.
Yes. We're going to get it right this time. We're going to start out with the trivia question.
The trivia question. Start off this episode trivia question, and then we'll give the answer at the end of the broadcast. The question this time is, what popular Hall of Fame former Minnesota Twins player, never played varsity baseball, never played high school baseball? So chew on that for a while. Consult your Google machine if you'd like to, and then we'll start the show.
All right. One thing you notice on our social media, did update our Spotify music Dan's album of the week page this week. Last 4 albums have been added to it. A song from each album. Maybe over Christmas break might add other songs. So each album might have 2 songs on it for some. Just fair warning as you listen to it. There was one album Dan did at a time, a Wasp album. I did my best research on it. Every song listed on that album had the explicit lyrics. So
take heed.
Yeah, listen to it in the car, not at work, depending where you work. Pastor, I wouldn't listen to this at work, just in case. If you're a teacher, don't listen to it at work, just in case. If you're in the car, knock yourself out.
That's our disclaimer.
Yeah, there it is. I don't use big words like that. That's Dan using the big words. High school sports, we'll start with the volleyball rankings real quick. These are all from Max Prep Sports. Their rankings as of 12/8. They, again, use analytics unlike the Star Tribune and other coaches' polls, which are coaches' polls. They have an overall, which they have Wayzata first at 11-0. Minneota second, who's 2-0. Stewartville third, Woodbury, Eastridge and Woodbury 4, and Monticello 5. Again, if you went to the volleyball coaches polls or Star Tribune, you can find different ones. You may have to have some games in there to get it, but it is what it is. For 3A, we got Wayzata first, Eastridge second, Monticello third, Northfield fourth at 13-0, and North St. Paul fifth, who's 4-0. At 11-3, Minnetonka comes in at 8th on their poll. For 2A, Stewartville first, Greenway Coleraine second at 3-0. Also Southwest Christian and Chaska 3-0. Albany 8-0, Maple Lake 5th at 4-1. At 6-0, Watertown Mayor at number 12 on their poll. Again, if you look at the Star Tribune, because they're 6-0, they might be higher. I didn't look at the Star Tribune poll because when I did the research for theirs for this week's show, they were still as of November 22nd. So I didn't bother writing it down. 1A, Minneota first at 2-0. Second is Foston, 11-0. Then Mabel third, Belgrade fourth. Mayor Lutheran coming in 5th at 11-1. So that's the high school volleyball rankings. As the season goes on, we might do some more stuff Instagram-wise, get more in depth with the high school. There's not many other high school sports going on right now, to tell you the truth. I know Walls has shut down stuff here in Minnesota. So dance hasn't started yet. But activities-wise at schools, I know I saw an ad for Minnesota State High School League. They were looking for people to help judges for one-act play, for debate, for speech, stuff like that. So those events are still going on. God bless those students. They still have their thing going on. Support them the best you can at schools. If you see them, you see in your local paper, they have them going on, give them a tip of the cap. College sports, football. College football has kind of canceled some more bowl games because of COVID. A list of the 2021 bowl games that have been canceled. The Bahamas Bowl, which was a Conference USA against a MAC school. Celebration School, which was a MUAC and a SWAC conference games. The Fenway Bowl, which was a game played in Boston and Fenway Park. That was an AAC against an ACC school. The Hawaii Bowl, which was an AAC against a Mountain West school. Holiday Bowl, ACC school against a Pac-12 school. Las Vegas Bowl, Pac-12 against the SEC. Los Angeles Bowl, which was a Pac-12 against the Mountain West. The Pinstripe Bowl, which was in Yankee Stadium. ACC against the Big Ten. Now, a lot of times it was ranked like it was a certain ranked team in the ACC against a certain ranked team in the Big Ten. But so many of these conferences have split and gone to 2 divisions in the conference. They're just kind of listing it that way. The Quick Lane Bowl, which was either an ACC, a Big Ten, or a MAC school, one of those 3. 2 of those 3, I should say, would be in it. The Red Box Bowl, which is a Big Ten against the Pac-12. I don't even know what the head Red Box is anymore. And the Sun Bowl, which is kind of the biggest bowl game of them all, if you ask me, canceled. ACC against the Pac-12. In case you didn't keep up with all that, there's 3 Big Ten teams that are affected by that, 4 Pac-12 and 4 ACC teams of the Big 5, if you will. If you recall, when college football started, the Big 5, as they say, got together, and the Pac-12 and the Big 10 said, no, we ain't playing. We're scared. COVID, we're not going to mess with it. We're not doing it. ACC, SEC, and the Big 12 all said, great, we're playing whatever. Nebraska actually said, hey, we'll play some of you other schools. We want us to play our teams ready. And the Big 10 said, no, you can't. Bad things were said. I'm pretty sure Christmas cards aren't going to be exchanged between Nebraska and the Big 10 on this. But the Big 10 and the Pac-12 finally came back and said, hey, we're playing. We're going to have a conference. We're going to have a schedule. We're going to have to go out. They both started. Big 10 had a rule. You got to have 5 games in to qualify for the Big 10 championship. Because a lot of teams canceled. They don't want someone getting a 2-0 record and getting in there. I think that was their plan. They said 5 games, which was fair enough because they scheduled like 7, 8 games for everybody, so that should be good. Funny, Northwestern has only 5 games. I'm sorry, you need 6 games. Northwestern has a 5-1 record. They qualified. They should be playing the Big Ten championship against Ohio State. They only got 5 wins. They're 5-0. They don't have the 6 games. I apologize. 6 games qualified to make it. So Ohio State shouldn't do it. Shouldn't be in the Big Ten championship. But according to the NCAA, they list Ohio State as 4th right now, which would put them in the Final 4 for their bowl championship. Which a lot of people were upset about that, going, well, how can they be in the bowl championship here and they can't even play for the Big Ten title? Well, the Big Ten had a meeting, and as you've heard on this show before, I refer to them as, oh, how I hate Ohio State. There's another reason why. The Big Ten cowered down to the networks and the TV money and said, oh, we'll let Ohio State play. I guess we'll have an exception. Because if not, they would have just found a meaningless game for Ohio State to make up. They would have beaten some other lowly school, qualified. Now, the reason Ohio State didn't get this last game in, like we said last week, they were supposed to play Michigan, the big rivalry game. Michigan got too many COVID. They said, nope, we don't have enough players, sorry. And by policy of the NCAA and Big Ten, they had enough players sick. They were allowed to cancel the game. Some people were saying fake news, fake doctor reports, whatever, because it's Michigan, Ohio State. These are big boys. It's not some small high school teams getting mad at each other, ex-coaches, whatever. I believe Michigan literally had enough sick kids they couldn't do it. I don't think they faked the numbers. I think if they would have had barely enough, they would have still gone just out of pride and respect. Yeah, Ohio State's your rivalry, but usually your team that's your biggest rivalry, you have the most respect for too. And I don't think Michigan pulled some lame card to get out of this game. That's me. But so the Big Ten caved. They will be playing Ohio State and Northwestern for the Big Ten title. And Ohio State's a 20-point favorite. So take that for what it's worth. Other teams.
And just to jump in,
Yeah.
that game, this is the 11th year of that college, the Big Ten championship game. The East, team coming out of the East has won 9 of the 10 games. Teams coming out of the West has only won 1. So Northwestern coming out of the West, not only is a 20 to 21 point underdog for that game, which is going to be played next Saturday. Any team coming out of is a 1-9 of the last 10 games coming out of that anyway. So Ohio State's going to be a favorite anyway, regardless of they didn't necessarily qualify to be in this game, but that'll be the Big Ten championship game, December 19th.
Lucas Oil, I believe, in Indianapolis, right?
Yes.
So, and if there was fans, that would kind of been a home game for Northwestern because they're Illinois, Indiana area there. Nobody likes Ohio State right now, so I don't care where this game was played, unless it was in Ohio State. Northwestern would have like the home crowd feeling for it, I think, from the fans. Also on Tuesday, Purdue announced they'd be canceling the game with Indiana. They play for the Old Oaken Bucket. We talked about some trophies, Big Ten games. That's the first time that game will be played in over 100 years. I have to go for
That
Wisconsin.
hasn't been played, really?
Yep. I have to go for Wisconsin when it was 100 some years. This one was another rivalry game that got canceled because of COVID. So hopefully we'll get some of that to normalcy next year on some of these rivalry games come back. I know there is some last minute work going on between Minnesota and Wisconsin to try to get their game played, but I don't see that happening. Basically because you're playing for Paul Bunyan's Axe. Yes, it's for the players, this and that. But as far as getting these teams to travel, there's the COVID stuff the Gophers just went through. They lost 2 games because of it. Really want to travel and get maybe more, are they healthy? Are they not? I say just let it go. You're playing for pride, maybe, yes. But if so many bowl games be cut out, you guys aren't going to qualify for a bowl game. Wisconsin might not. Just don't risk it. NSIC basketball, the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference announced Tuesday their schedule was coming up. The league decided to ditch the traditional doubleheader format, which each school's men's and women's teams play the same opponent at the same location. So basically, the girls would play a 5 o'clock game, and the men would play like at 7:30 afterwards, kind of a doubleheader, Friday and Saturday. What they're doing this year is they're going to kind of go alternating sites. So, for example, Bemidji State, which is in that conference, say they play Mankato. The men will go down to Mankato, the women will go up to Bemidji State. So, yes, you're still playing the same school for both teams, but you're at opposite cities now instead of everybody going down there. So in a way, you look at it this way, we'll just, again, use the Bemidji State as an example. Between the men and the women, someone's going to be at home every weekend playing. So there's always something to go on. Can't go watch it, but listen on radio, you got them in town. We'll see how that goes. But so that's how they're going to do it to get away from the doubleheader stuff. So everybody's going to travel opposite weeks like that. So, which to a point isn't a bad idea. It's nice when as a ticket buyer, you have a doubleheader at home, you get 2 games for the price of 1. Nice deal. Flip side, if it was a ticket buyer and you're doing this next year, you got a game every weekend to go to. So we'll see what they do for next weekend. Sticking with college, WCHA, USA Today, USA Hockey Men's poll is out, top 5. University of North Dakota 1, Boston College 2, University of Minnesota Duluth 3, University of Minnesota moves up to 4, Michigan moves up to 5. St. Cloud State entered at number 11 out of nowhere. And on their list of weeks in the top 15, all the schools I mentioned before have been up there all 5 weeks. St. Cloud State enters at number 11. It's their first week in the top 15. So they just, boom, jumped up to number 11. So good luck, good work, Huskies, on that. Congratulations to them for doing it. United States Collegiate Hockey Association, Division I men's college hockey poll is, again, the same thing, roughly. Same North Dakota, Boston College, Duluth, Minnesota, and Michigan. So that's how the rankings go. Minnesota's won the last 2. They're 8-0 right now for hockey. For the men, women are 4-1. Women won last night. So good to them. Men are off to a great start 8-0. Don't know the rest of their schedule. They just had the first 8 games they listed for men's hockey. They want to see how everything went. They're going to redo their schedule after the holidays. So stay tuned, stay posted. Social media will put that schedule up when it's out. I checked it yesterday. They still don't have any more games listed for the Gophers, just these first 8-0. Good for them. The women are 4-1. They have had some postponements. Again, the 2 against Wisconsin. Ohio State games coming up are postponed, so that's how they got the Minnesota State games inked in there for the Gopher women. Gopher men's basketball, 6-0 after a win last night against Kansas City Kangaroos were in town. They beat them. Gopher men are off to a great start. December 15th, Tuesday, Big Ten season starts against Illinois, at Illinois. Then they got St. Louis, so it'll be a non-conference game, and we go back to Iowa on Christmas Day at the barn.
What's Iowa ranked?
I did not see Iowa in the rankings.
Oh, gotcha.
Iowa's got the top. Well, Iowa's third.
Third.
They're third in the rankings right now. But we'll see when Christmas comes. Iowa's got some good young players on the team. Iowa's a fun team to watch. But it's Iowa, it's Minnesota, it's the barn, it's Christmas Day.
2 weeks from today.
Yup. I'm pretty sure there'll still be no crowd there, but you know what? There's no bars you can go to. You know, have some buddies over, watching. You know, let's do it on the radio, in the garage with your friends. Make it your own little barn, and check it out. That's what I'd do if I was you. Women's basketball for the Gophers, 1-2. They play the 14th against Northwestern, Indiana the 23rd, and then Wisconsin January 3rd is their schedule for that. Men's basketball, top 5. Gonzaga still first, Baylor second. That big 1-2 matchup last week canceled because of COVID. So 1-2 was supposed to battle, it didn't happen. So they're both 3-0. Iowa third, Michigan State fourth, Kansas 5. So that's how that's going right now. College basketball, some of these games. I'm glad they're moving guys around playing games, but we're getting cancellations now. So maybe this bubble idea they talked about a couple weeks ago for the tournament is looking better and better. NFL, the pro side.
I've got one college.
Yes.
One college note for all you bowl game fans out there. Not a cancellation, but a change of venue. The December 24th New Mexico Bowl will now be held in Frisco, Texas at the Toyota Stadium. So they moved that game not only out of the state, it's the New Mexico Bowl game going to be held in Texas this year. That's a 3:30 start Eastern time. I'm on ESPN on Christmas Eve, but that's just a relocation. So Frisco, that's the home of the Stag Bowl, I think.
And also Frisco, that stadium, known as Fargo South.
Yes.
So that's where the Division II championship, or
FCS is
championship
always held.
Bison go down there, and
Always the
80%
Bison.
are Bison fans. It's Fargo South.
Fargo South.
NFL scheduling. It's usually the Dallas Cowboys dominating the slate for primetime games in the NFL. Well, this Sunday they're getting booted because no one wants to see their 3-9 team, Dallas Cowboys, on primetime. But here's the sad part. They're getting booted for the Giants against the Cleveland Browns.
Ouch.
Now, the Giants are 4-7, but they're first place in the division. It's 4-7, 4-7, 4-6-1, 3-6 in that division. Dallas being the 3-16. Or 3-18 or whatever.
They're the worst team in the NFC.
This is gonna hurt to say. The Cleveland Browns are 8-3. They're having a great season. They're in the playoff hunt. So of course, 2 teams in the playoff hunt. That's who they want in prime time. So Jerry Jones is not a happy man right now, which is I'm okay with. I'm fine with that.
True.
But again, to me, like I said before, sometimes I'd rather almost watch 2, 3, and 10 teams battle than a 12 and 2 team against a 500 team, because those 2 teams are 3 and 10 are going to be trying. Got some baseball news here, a little bit of baseball news, a couple things on baseball, then I'll be wrapping it up here.
I got a Vikings note.
Vikings, never heard of them.
A small Vikings note. Speaking of playoffs, Vikings play the Buccaneers this Sunday, noon game in Tampa against Gronkowski, Tom Brady, and the rest. It's really a playoff matchup. With this year, there's 3 wildcard teams. If the season was to end right now, the Vikings would be the number 7 seed in a playoff spot, and right above them, number 6 would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as another wildcard team. So one could argue that this is a playoff caliber type of a game. We'll see how it turns
Is that
out.
game here or down in Tampa?
Down in Tampa.
A couple of ex-Gophers on that Tampa team.
Antoine Winfield Jr. It's someone else.
It'd be nice to see the receiver. Johnson?
Yes. So there's two guys out there, former Gophers from last year.
And no rip on the Vikes, but it would be nice to see Antoine get a pick against his home team. Would be nice to see Johnson score a touchdown against the old local team. Not saying I want to lose, just be nice to see those two guys have a good game. We talk about other leagues here besides Major League Baseball. The Mexican Baseball League, which we'll tap into when the season starts here, they're expanding to a couple more teams from 16 to 18. I am not even going to bother to try to pronounce these towns. Just watch our social media site. We're putting their standings up. Schedules, I don't know if it's going to be YouTube schedules or ESPN 14 or whatever. I'm sure you'll find the game somewhere. Mexican Baseball League, you do see a lot of major leaguers go down there to rehab injuries, guys who maybe were AA, AAA guys trying to get some more at-bats. So there are some names you recognize down there also. Also, the Korean Baseball League, we talked that one up a lot. The Miami Marlins are interested in this year's Korean Baseball League's MVP. Now, usually I'm a little scared to announce some of these Korean baseball players' names because I will mess them up. This one I'm pretty sure I got. Korean Baseball Organization's 2020 Most Valuable Player, Mel Rojas Jr., has gained the interest of Miami Marlins, according to MLB.com. Mel Rojas' dad, or Mel Rojas Jr., his dad played in the majors. Like we talked about before, Jr. is the son of a former pitcher, Mel Rojas. He was drafted 84th overall in the 2010 draft by the Pirates. Spent time with the Pirates minor league system before being traded to the Atlanta Braves in 2016. And then he went down to Korea to play, to get some more at-bats. He's coming back. That's kind of why I like watching the Korean Baseball League. I watch the Japanese baseball, the Mexican League, the Australian Baseball League. It's these guys like Mel Rojas Jr. who go there. Here's one guy, 5 years out, is making his trip back. Oh, one guy out of like 4 leagues I just mentioned, but you know what? I love baseball. I used to love watching the game. Those are great games to watch, great teams to watch. Some names you may recognize, some you may not. Some you may go, hey, didn't I hear him on that Australian Baseball League one game or a Korean Baseball League? That's what that's for. That's what I got for regular sports stuff. Instead of doing birthdays and moments in history, we've kind of changed it up. Done a musician of the week a couple times, did an athlete of the week last week. This week I got an event of the week. There's usually stuff around this time of year that we're going on. This week, the Army-Navy football game. This year it's going to be December 12th, 1 o'clock Central Time here on CBS. Army-Navy football game. It's a classic game. I think everybody's watched it or looked at it at one time. They know the significance of it, the rivalry. Army-Navy could be playing badminton against each other. It's going to be a rivalry. So it's fun to watch. It's a good old-fashioned rivalry. The Army-Navy game is an American college football rivalry game between the Army Black Knights of the United States Military Academy at West Point in New York and the Navy Midshipmen of the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis, Maryland. Black Knights, or the cadets, and the midshipmen each represent their service's oldest officer commissioning sources. As such, the game has come to enable the spirit of the inter-service rivalry of the United States Armed Forces. The game marks the end of the college football regular season and is the third and final game of the season's Commander-in-Chief's Trophy, which also includes the Air Force Falcons of the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The Army-Navy game is one of the most traditional and enduring rivalries in college football. It has been frequently attended by sitting U.S. presidents. The game has been nationally televised over the years since 1945 on either ABC, NBC, or CBS. CBS has had the game right since 96, and they have them through 2028. Instant Replay made its American debut in the 1963 Army-Navy game. Since 2009, the game has been held on Saturday following FBS Conference Championship weekend. The game has been held in multiple locations, but outside the 1926 game in Chicago and the 1983 game in Pasadena, California, it has been played at Northwest Annapolis, or has been played most frequently in Philadelphia, but it's also been the New York and Baltimore and Washington areas a few times too. Through the 2019 meeting, The Navy leads the series 61-52 with 7 ties. Boy, that hurt to say. The rivalry between Annapolis and West Point, while friendly, is intense. The phrases beat Navy and beat Army are ingrained in the institutions and have become a symbol of competitiveness, not only in the Army-Navy game, but in the service of the country. Phrases are often used in close and informal letters by graduates on both academies. Long-standing tradition in the Army-Navy football game is to conduct a formal prisoner exchange as part of the pregame activities. Prisoners are the cadets and midshipmen currently spending the semester studying at the sister academy. After the exchange, students have a brief reprieve and enjoy the game with their comrades. The American national anthem is usually sung by members of the United States Military Academy and the United States Naval Academy choirs. Unlike their football games, a notable recording artist or marching band does not perform the national anthem. At the end of the game, both teams alma maters are played and sung. So you got to sing your school song. The winning team stands alongside the losing team and faces the losing academy's students. Then the losing team accompanies the winning team facing their students. This is done to show mutual respect and solidarity. Since the winning team's alma mater is usually played last, the phrase "to sing second" has become synonymous with winning the rivalry game. Navy midshipman and later Admiral Joseph Matson Reeves wore what was widely regarded as the first football helmet in the 1893 Army-Navy game. He had been advised by a Navy doctor that another kick to his head could cause a disability or even death. So he commissioned an Annapolis shoemaker to make him a helmet out of leather. On November 27, 1926, the Army-Navy game was held in Chicago for the national dedication of Soldier Field as a monument for the American servicemen who had fought in World War I. Navy came to the game undefeated, while West Point had only lost to Notre Dame. So the game would decide the national championship. Played before a crowd of over 100,000, the teams fought to a 21-21 tie. But Navy was awarded the national championship. In both 1944 and 1945 contests, Army and Navy entered the game ranked 1 and 2 respectively. The 1945 game was labeled the game of the century before it was even played. Army defeated the 7-0-1 Navy team 32-13. Navy's tie that year was to Notre Dame. Now, getting back to the Commander-in-Chief trophy that they play for, I found this very interesting when I was doing my research for it. The Commander-in-Chief trophy is awarded to each season's winner of the American College Football Series of games between the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. The Navy-Air Force game is normally played the first Saturday in October. Army-Air Force game is played the first Saturday in November. And the Army-Navy game, like we said earlier, is the second Saturday in December. In the event of a tie, the award is shared, but the previous winner retains the physical possession of the trophy. The Commander-in-Chief's trophy and the Michigan MAC trophy are the only NCAA Division I FBS triangular trophies awarded annually. A few others, such as the Florida Cup and the Beehive Boot, have been around, but they're not every year as big a deal as these. Through 2019, Air Force Falcons have held the most trophy victories with 20. The Navy Midshipmen, the current holders, have won 16, and the Army Black Knights trail with 8. Trophy has been shared on 4 occasions, most recently in 1993. The Air Force first played Army in 1959 and Navy in 1960. Prior to 1972, Air Force met Army in odd years and Navy in even. And other in 61, 62, and 64. Commander-in-Chief's trophy was the brainchild of Air Force General George B. Simler, a former Air Force Academy athletic director who envisioned the trophy as the means to create an annual series of football games, the Air Force Academy against the military academies and the Naval Academy. First awarded in 72 by President Richard Nixon. Trophy itself, it's jointly sponsored by the Alumni Association of all 3 academies. Trophy is named for the U.S. President, who is the Commander-in-Chief of all military services under the U.S. Constitution. The president has personally awarded the trophy to a number of its occasions. During the 80s, for example, Ronald Reagan presented the award in an annual White House ceremony. In 1996, Bill Clinton presented the trophy to the Army team at Veterans Stadium after the Army-Navy game. From 2003 to 2007, George W. Bush presented the trophy to Navy teams at ceremonies at the White House. During the 80s and early 90s, the winner of the trophy, if bowl eligible, was granted an invitation to the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee. Here's something, I don't know if you know this, Dan, you being kind of a, I won't say geek about this, but someone who studied this a lot. In 1963, shortly after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, Jacqueline Kennedy urged the academies to play after they had been talk of cancellation. Originally scheduled for November 30th, 1963, the game was played December 7th, 1963, after coinciding with the 22nd anniversary of Pearl Harbor Day, in front of a crowd of 102,000 people in Philadelphia's Municipal Stadium, later renamed John F. Kennedy Stadium. Junior, second-class midshipman, quarterback Roger Staubach led number 2 ranked in Navy to a victory, which clinched the Cotton Bowl National Championship matchup with Texas. Army was led by junior, second-class cadet quarterback Raleigh Steinweck. Steinweck led off the game with a touchdown drive that featured the first use of instant replay on television. Army nearly won the game after another touchdown and 2-point conversion. Steinweck recovered the onside kick and drove the ball to the Navy 2-yard line. Fourth down with no timeouts. Crowd noise prevented Steinweck from calling the play, and time expired. 21-15 final score. Roger Staubach won the Heisman Trophy later that year and was bumped off the scheduled cover of Life magazine due to the coverage of the assassination. Steinweck and Staubach would both meet again in '64 as seniors, as Army would defeat Navy that year. In that game, Calvin Huey of Navy became the first African-American player to play in the series. Roger Staubach went on to serve in the Navy and afterward became a Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Steinweck served his 5 years in Vietnam with the 173rd Airborne Brigade and was inducted into the Army Sports Hall of Fame in 2012. On December 10th, 2016, Army defeated Navy for the first time since 2001, a 21-17 victory, snapping a 14-game losing streak. Army-Navy is one of those football games I always watch this time of year, along with the Grambling Southern game is usually when I did. It was between these two, which one I was going to do. Army-Navy, because it was usually this week, is why I picked that one. I do Grambling Southern later on. I always loved Grambling Southern, watching those as a kid growing up, things like that. Roger Staubach, the big name from Navy, coming out. Fierro is a lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers from Army. Those are 2 big alums that have made it pro. Not saying other guys haven't, but those guys are big. So just Army-Navy game, watch that. It's fun to watch. It's the crowd. It's almost like watching a high school game, the way the crowds get back and forth with the cadets and the midshipmen. It's kind of what it's about. I don't know if they're going to let those guys. I've heard they're going to still let those guys be there. Now it's the 12th. That's till tomorrow. Things could change. Last I heard, they're still going to let the midshipmen and them all be there for this game. We shall see. Either way, it should be a fun game to watch tomorrow.
Well, I didn't know that the Air Force and the Navy and the Army play October 1st weekend, November 1st, and
first weekend and first weekend.
I didn't know that.
Air Force plays in the first week October. They play Navy first week November. Then these two teams play in December. And it's kind of funny how these 2 games, Army-Navy, it's for the Commander-in-Chief trophy. Air Force beat them both in the first 2 games. It doesn't really matter. It's Air Force's trophy, but it's all Army-Navy, and here Air Force has won it 20 times. So,
yeah, it's a good. I think it's the thing I like about it is that the regular season ends for college football, and then you've got this break, really just a 1 weekend break, and the bowl games or bowl series. The bowl season starts around the holiday times, and this is that one weekend that they get national TV all to themselves on a Saturday every single year. Army Navy, it's just a good tradition, and I didn't know that Staubach was scheduled to be on the cover of the magazine until the assassination in 1963. And he
Yep.
got bumped off. I did
Yep.
not know that.
Yep. So little history too with that. Before the album of the week, is there a trivia answer for us, sir?
I have a trivia answer. The only baseball, who's the star? The question once again, Minnesota Twins baseball star that never played high school baseball. And we're going to go back here to the in the 60s. Rod Carew. Rod Carew played for the Twins and later the Angels and inducted into the Hall of Fame. Was not on the high school varsity baseball team. And the interesting thing is here, never played high school baseball. He was born, I think, he was born in Panama, and his family then relocated up to New York, and I think he was in the Bronx, and was very highly acclaimed playing sandlot baseball. Never played on the high school team, but was a very good baseball player in a sandlot league, similar to basketball calls it what do they call it?
It's the blacktop or
The blacktop league, the off the records, but they're very competitive. So Rodney Klein Carew, never played on a high school varsity team, never suited up and played varsity baseball at all. Now, the reason, part two of the trivia question, not a trivia, but an interesting fact that people may not have known. Rodney his mother delivered him on a train in Panama when he was born and gave birth to him on the train while it was moving. She had labor pains, was about to give birth, and they got a doctor in there to help deliver the baby. The doctor's name was Dr. Rodney Klein. Mrs. Carew was so indebted and thankful that he helped deliver her new baby boy. She named the baby Rodney Klein Carew.
Wow.
That's my helpful hint here for the week. Very good fact, very little known. But Rodney Klein was named after the doctor that gave birth to him.
Education.
Delivered him.
That's all we do is teach.
His mother gave birth to him, actually.
Yeah, the mother gave birth.
So Rodney Klein Carew, Hall of Famer, never played varsity baseball, which means he never would have had a high school varsity letter, but went on to do many big things. Now, before we go to album of the week, I do have some hot stove baseball notes. Hot stove baseball notes. There's a few of them here. There was a trade today. Texas Rangers got Nate Lowe from the Tampa Bay Rays, first baseman, and two others, which is strange. They got, of course, a player to be named later. They got Nate Lowe, the first baseman, but they also got a guy in the farm system, a prospect, Jake Gunther, interestingly enough, also at first baseman. So they got two first basemen in the deal, one an immediate starter to play up in the big leagues, and then one a prospect. And in return, Tampa Bay got three farm system guys, essentially an infielder, an outfielder, and then the third guy is a catcher/outfielder. So a trade there. Now, the interesting thing for Texas is Nate Lowe from the Rays is looking forward to playing at the Texas Rangers' new field, Globe Life Stadium, where the World Series was held this year. But the Texas Rangers, that's their new stadium that really didn't get, I don't think any fans were even allowed to go to the stadium. It was brand new this last year. People got to see it in the playoffs and everything, but it's a super stadium down there in Arlington, Texas. So Lowe was excited about not only switching uniforms, but being able to play in that brand new ballpark. Now, we know that Trevor May signed a deal with the Mets, a 2-year deal a couple of weeks ago. Jake Odorizzi, possibly going to go there too. The Mets are interested. He's still in talks with other teams, but the Mets are one of them. The Mets are the leading candidate for Mr. Catcher James McCann. Now, the Angels, I think, are also in the mix with getting McCann. But, boy, it looks like the Mets are going to get him. And right now, the hottest guy available, in highest demand, I should say. I'm not going to say hottest. Highest demand is George Springer of the Astros. Springer looks to be a very good fit with the Mets. And so if the Mets could get Springer, McCann, Odorizzi, Trevor May, they look to be the team in the driver's seat there in the National League East with all of these big name pickups. Now, in the American League, White Sox are doing all that they can to put together a championship season this coming year in the Central to take away the crown from the Twins. Well, Nelson Cruz, the DH, hasn't signed yet with the Twins and is being looked at very heavily by the White Sox. And so if that comes into play, we might be facing him. I'd rather, if he went somewhere else, to go to some National League team and play DH if they're going to go with that. But right now, the White Sox are heavily looking at Mr. Nelson Cruz.
National League has said they're going no DH this year.
They are. So with no DH means the target markets there for Mr. Nelson Cruz are only American League teams, which is going to be the Twins, White Sox, obviously, and maybe a handful of others. But he's over 40 years old, but can still obviously play the game. But it'd be an interesting matchup if he does go to the White Sox, meaning the Twins would have to face him. And very interesting. It's going to be an interesting season, to say the least. That's all I've got for sports. We can go to Album of the Week. Is there anything more, Andy?
I got nothing.
Album of the Week this week, Cinderella, Night Songs. Night Songs. Night Songs is the debut album by American rock band Cinderella, originally released in June 1986. Night Songs sold several million copies due to the combination of the following: their breakthrough single, Nobody's Fool. MTV Airplay was big then. This is 86. And they also had an opening slot as the opening band on the concert tour for Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet tour, which was huge. So between the major airplay and their hit single, Nobody's Fool, and the fact that they were on the opening act for Slippery When Wet, pushed Cinderella over the top in 1986. The album peaked at number 3 in the U.S. charts. This was February of 1987. At that time, it was certified double platinum. But in May 1991, certified triple platinum, having shipped 3 million records in the U.S. The leadoff single, Shake Me, failed to chart, but Nobody's Fool cracked the top 20, reaching number 13. Their third single, Somebody Save Me, went on to reach number 66. In May of 1987, Cinderella filmed parts of their concert in Philadelphia. They're a Philadelphia-based band, so this was interesting. They filmed some live songs there in Philadelphia. Those songs were filmed along with their 3 MTV videos, released on home video in August of 1987 on Night Songs, The Videos. Once again, the 3 singles were Shake Me, released in 1986, Nobody's Fool, October of 1986, and then following year in February was Somebody Save Me. The genre here is classified as hard rock / heavy metal / glam metal. The album is 36 minutes long, was released on Mercury, producer Andy Johns. On VH1 program, That Metal Show, Night Songs was rated number 5 on the show's top 5 worst album covers list. Eddie Trunk stated that it wasn't the album that was bad or the album cover that was bad. It was just very misleading. He ranked it very misleading, as it put forward a glam metal image. But the songs inside were classic hard rock and heavy metal. So the album is really just the 4 of the band members there standing with pretty much a glam metal look to it. And that was selling at the time. So they got a lot of people to buy it, but really inside, listen to the songs. They're all classic hard rock and heavy metal. Now here's the track listings. Song 1, Night Songs. Song 2, Shake Me. Song 3, Nobody's Fool. Song 4, Nothing for Nothing. Song 5, Once Around the Ride. 6, Hell on Wheels. 7, Somebody Save Me. 8, In From the Outside. 9, Push Push. And song 10, Back Home Again. Once again, some of these deep tracks are actually better than the popular played songs that we've all known and come to love on the radio over the years from Cinderella. Some of those are very good. Now, according to some rock/metal critics, Night Songs is considered a heavy metal album. After Night Songs, the band went in a more rock/blues rock direction. Their next album was Long Cold Winter, which we reviewed last year, which is really more of a blues rock format. But this original debut album was regular heavy metal. Good stuff. In the episode of How I Met Everyone Else of the How I Met Your Mother series, Ted is seen wearing a Night Songs album t-shirt during flashback scenes. So if you go back to look at the episode How I Met Everyone Else, you can see that in the background, a Cinderella t-shirt. Also, October 2014, for her birthday, guitarist Tom Kiefer presented Izzy Hale of Hailstorm with the costume jewelry pin that he actually wore on his right shoulder for the Night Songs album cover. Hale subsequently wore the pin on her right hip on the album cover for the Hailstorm's 2015 Into the Wildlife. To include a little bit of a touch of tradition there. Once again, the album, 36 minutes long. Here's the band. Tom Kiefer, lead vocals, piano and guitar. Jeff LaBar, vocals and guitar. Eric Brittingham, bass. And interesting to note, the drums were all done by Jody Cortez. All the tracks on the album were done by Jody Cortez. But when the band got out of the studio, released the album and went on tour, Fred Coury was the drummer after this. And later went on with Rat and other bands. But Fred Coury does not play a note on this album from the studio recording. Also, John Bon Jovi himself sang background vocals on the song Nothing for Nothing and In From the Outside. The lead guitar on the songs Back Home Again, Nothing for Nothing, and Push Push was actually done by Barry Benedetta. Barry Benedetta. Here's a little trivia question, but yeah, Fred Coury did not do anything there on the studio, but they're connected to Bon Jovi and really rode the coattails during the Slippery When Wet concert tour back in 86 and 87. Very good album. Recommend listening to it. Also recommend leaving comments, requests, and information in the description section of this. Andy, you're a Cinderella fan. Yep. How do you like this album?
I enjoy it. It's a little bluesy on some ones because that's Tom Kiefer's kind of his thing. He gets out some bluesy stuff on there. Not really a bad song on the album. I really do love it. I said John Bon Jovi, like you said, discovered them. I mean, Richie Sambora saw him playing. The Night Songs album came out kind of that whole. But it's really weird that they were considered glam rock at the time because that's what people wanted to see, so that's what they dressed as. Their music wasn't really glam rock. Their image was. They were a little more rock and roll than what Bon Jovi was, which was kind of weird that two of them toured together. I thought it was really kind of confusing. Not saying Bon Jovi couldn't discover them and like them. Not saying that at all, but you hear that a lot of times. The fact they toured together, I thought was kind of weird. It was two different types of rock and roll, two types of hard rock, heavy metal kind of touring together. I would have gone to see it. I liked both bands. I was one of the few that probably liked both. Not many people do like both, which is weird. But yeah, they toured together. Doc McGee helped them out, I'm sure, because he was with Bon Jovi and them. Doc McGee helped everybody in rock and roll back then.
Doc McGee, yes. Kiss, too.
Yes. So I'm sure he helped out, if not Doc McGee, whoever they helped with. But I think with that Night Songs, when you really listen to it, it's, without sounding like a music teacher, it's got good harmonies, it's got good this, everything's great on it. There isn't really much, what's the word I'm looking for?
Differentiation.
I mean, there's the ballads are good, it's got some bluesy songs, it's not all the same type of song, one after the other. You get a little of everything for rock and roll on it. It's got the ballads, it's got the hard rock songs, it's got kind of the bluesy song with seems with the other ones on there. So it's a good mix. It's not all rock and roll, boom, boom, boom. So that's what I enjoyed about it.
They had some good videos as well, and like I said earlier, MTV was coming in at this time, and they got also a very heavy airplay with those videos, and that really boosted them up there. But working out on concert with Bon Jovi certainly didn't hurt.
No.
I'm a big Bon Jovi, old stuff Bon Jovi fan. Love it. Slippery When Wet when that first came up, and things like that. It got a little more commercialized, really more of a pop feel to it, not as heavy metal, but still rock and roll.
Yep.
That's all I've got for album of the week. Any other notes?
No, next couple weeks will be a little different episodes for us. We're kind of post-production meeting about that. Stay tuned, a little different format the next couple weeks because of the holidays. Back to this same type of format beginning of 2021.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.